Assalamu alaikum class. Today's topic is food poisoning. Food poisoning is food-borne illness which is caused by eating contaminated food which contains microorganisms like bacteria, viruses and parasites or their toxins. The learning objectives of today's topic include a brief overview and the types of food poisoning. Then we will cover differential diagnosis of different types of food poisoning and investigation which are required in the case of food poisoning. And finally, the prevention and control. Lastly, we will recap today's lecture and assignment based attendance is required. This is the definition of food poisoning. Food poisoning is an acute gastroenteritis which is caused by ingestion of food or drink which is contaminated with either living bacteria or their toxins or inorganic chemical substances and poisons which are derived from plants and animals. As we discussed in the last slide, food poisoning is caused by ingestion of food and drink which is contaminated. You may see a single case or many cases of food poisoning at a time in wards. So there are some common characteristics. First of all, there is history of ingestion of a common food if you see the multiple cases at the same time. An attack of many persons at the same time which present with symptoms of gastroenteritis, and signs and symptoms are similar in majority of cases. There are two types of food poisoning. The first one is non-bacterial, which is caused by chemicals or poisons derived from plants and seafood, such as arsenic food poisoning. The second type is bacterial food poisoning, which is caused by ingestion of food which is contaminated by living bacteria or their toxins. The example of such type of food poisoning include salmonella food poisoning, staphylococcal food poisoning, botulism, clostridium perfringens food poisoning, bacillus cereus food poisoning. We will go through each type separately. First, we will cover Salmonella food poisoning, which is extremely common form of food poisoning. As I told you already, Salmonella food poisoning is an extremely common form of food poisoning. There are multiple reasons for this. In the last few years, an increase in community feeding has been observed, and if there is a history of ingestion of common food, multiple cases are reported. There is increase in international trade in human food, and during the transport of food, if temperature is not properly maintained, salmonella food poisoning can occur. There is a high incidence of salmonellosis in farm animals, and if human being ingest the food derived from these animals, they can get salmonella food poisoning. There is a widespread use of household detergents which interfere with sewage treatment, and without proper sewage treatment, bacteria is not killed. There is a wide distribution of prepared food. So if the prepared food are not kept in proper temperature, salmonella food poisoning can occur. The most common agents of Salmonella food poisoning are Salmonella typhimurium, Salmonella cholera suis, and Salmonella enteritidis. Salmonella is basically a disease of animals. Man gets the infection from farm animals or poultry through their contaminated meat, milk, milk product, sausages, custards, eggs, and egg products. Rats and mice are another source. They are heavily infected and they contaminated foodstuff by their urine and feces. Temporary human carriers can also spread the disease. The incubation period of Salmonella food poisoning is 12 to 24 hours most commonly. If we talk about the mechanism of food poisoning, the causative organisms multiply in the intestine and they cause acute enteritis and acute colitis. There is a sudden onset of symptoms. Symptoms include chills, fever, nausea, and vomiting. There is profuse watery diarrhea, which lasts for 2 to 3 days. Mortality is about 1%. Convalescent carrier state lasts for several weeks. Staphylococcal food poisoning is another common form of food poisoning. Staphylococcal food poisoning occurs due to enterotoxins of certain strains of Coagulase positive Staphylococcus, and these toxins can be formed at optimum temperature, which ranges from 35 degrees centigrade to 37 degrees centigrade. These toxins are relatively heat stable and they resist boiling for 30 minutes. The food which are involved are salads, custard, milk products which are contaminated by staphylococci. Cows suffering from mastitis have been responsible for outbreaks of food poisoning. Incubation period is short, ranging from 1 hour to 8 hours, and incubation is short due to preformed toxins because toxins are preformed and present in the food. As I told you, disease occurs due to ingestion of toxins which are preformed in the food. Toxins remain in the food after the organisms have died. Toxin is heat resistant, can resist boiling for 30 minutes or more. These toxins act directly on intestine and CNS. The onset is sudden with symptoms of vomiting, abdominal cramps, and diarrhea. In severe cases, blood and mucus appears in stool. Staphylococcal food poisoning rarely causes fever. Mortality is rare. Botulism is rare but very serious type of food poisoning. It is life-threatening condition and it can kill two-thirds of its victim. Botulism is derived from the Latin word for sausage, botulus. It is caused by the exotoxin of Clostridium botulinum. The food most frequently responsible for botulism are home preserved food such as home canned vegetables, smoked or pickled fish, homemade cheese, and similar low acid foods. The exotoxin is preformed in the food. Incubation period is 18 to 36 hours. The exotoxin acts on parasympathetic nervous system and the symptoms are dysphagia, diplopia, ptosis, dysarthria, blurring of vision, muscle weakness, and even quadriplegia. Gastrointestinal symptoms are rare. Fever is generally absent and consciousness is retained. The disease is mostly fatal. Death occurs in 4 to 8 days due to respiratory or cardiac arrest. Botulism, which occurs in infants, is called infant botulism. It is due to the infection of gut by Clostridium botulinum with subsequent in vivo production of toxin. In adults, toxin is preformed, while in infant, exotoxin production occurs in the gut. The toxin is thermolabile, so the heating of food at 100 degrees centigrade for a few minutes will make the food safer. Antitoxin should be given to all individuals who consume the food. The dose varies from 50,000 to 100,000 units intravenous. Antitoxin will be of no use if the toxin is already fixed to the nervous tissue. Guanidine Hydrochloride given orally in doses of 15 to 40 mg per kg body weight has been shown to reverse the neuromuscular block of botulism. Active immunization with botulism toxoid to prevent botulism is also available. Another type of food poisoning is Clostridium perfringens food poisoning. The causative organism is found in feces of human and animals and in soil, water and air. Majority of the outbreak have been associated with the ingestion of meat, meat dishes and poultry. The usual story is that the food has been prepared and cooked 24 hours before the consumption and the food was allowed to cool slowly at room temperature and then heated immediately prior to serving. The incubation period of the disease is 6 hours to 24 hours. Spores of Clostridium perfringens are able to survive cooking, and if the cooked meat or poultry are not cooled enough, they will germinate. Or if the food is cooled very slowly, so the spores will get the chance to germinate. The most common symptoms of Clostridium perfringens food poisoning are diarrhea and abdominal cramps. There is little or no fever at all. Nausea and vomiting are also rare. Illness is usually of short duration. Recovery occurs very rapidly and there is no mortality associated with the disease. Prevention consists either by cooking food just prior to its consumption or if it has to be stored, it should be stored by rapid and adequate cooling. Another type of food poisoning is Bacillus cereus food poisoning. The causative organism is found in raw, dried, and processed food or in soil. The spores can survive cooking and they germinate and multiply rapidly when the food is kept at favorable temperatures. Recent research work has shown that Bacillus cereus produces at least two distinct enterotoxins, which cause two distinct forms of food poisoning. The first one is emetic form, which is of short incubation period, just 1 to 6 hours, and it is characterized by predominantly upper gastrointestinal tract symptoms. The other one is diarrheal form. It has a longer incubation period, 12 to 24 hours, and it is characterized predominantly by lower intestinal tract symptoms. And recovery occurs within 24 hours, and recovery is usual. Food poisoning may be mistaken for cholera, acute bacillary dysentery, and chemical poisoning like arsenic poisoning. Here I share the differential diagnosis between cholera and food poisoning. As far as epidemiology is concerned, cholera occurs in epidemics and there are secondary cases too. While in food poisoning, in single group of person who shared common food is usually reported and there are no secondary cases. Incubation period of cholera is few hours to 5 days, while incubation period of food poisoning is 1 to 24 hours. The onset in cholera is with purging, while the onset in food poisoning is with vomiting. Nausea and retching occurs in food poisoning, while it doesn't occur in cholera. Vomiting is usually projectile and watery and continuous and effortless in cholera, while in food poisoning, single severe vomiting occurs, maybe mucus or blood streak. Stool in cholera are copious, watery, and inoffensive. And while in food poisoning, the stools are frequently offensive. Abdominal tenderness occur in food poisoning, while abdominal tenderness does not occur in cholera. Tenesmus is present in food poisoning, while it is not present in cholera. Abdominal cramps are very marked in cholera, while abdominal cramps are less marked in food poisoning. Dehydration occurs in cholera and it is severe, while food poisoning dehydration occur but it is distinct. Surface temperature is subnormal in cholera, while surface temperature is 100 degree to 102 degree Fahrenheit in food poisoning. Headache is often reported in food poisoning, while it doesn't occur in cholera. Urine in cholera is suppressed due to dehydration, while in food poisoning it is seldom suppressed. Blood pictures shows leukocytosis in cholera, while the blood picture is normal in food poisoning. While investigating food poisoning, the investigator should secure complete list of people who are involved and their history. For example, those people who consumed the same food. Laboratory investigations are conducted and chemical examination of stool, vomitus and remnant of food is conducted, and food handlers should also be investigated. In some cases, animal experiments are conducted and in many cases, blood for antibodies is checked. Environmental studies are important and environmental studies include inspection of eating place, inspection of kitchen and questioning of food handlers regarding food preparation. Data is finally analyzed and association is established between illness and intake of a particular food. There are two important components of prevention and control. First is the food sanitation and the second is refrigeration. For prevention and control of food poisoning, food sanitation is very important. The food animal must be free from infection, so meat inspection is done of animals by veterinary staff both before and after slaughter. Personal hygiene of individuals who are engaged in handling, preparation, and cooking of food is also very important. Those food handlers who are suffering from infected wounds, boils, diarrhea, dysentery, throat infections must be excluded from food handling. Another very important component of food sanitation is food handling technique. There should be minimum handling of ready to eat food with bare hand. There should be short interval between food preparation and consumption of food. Food should be rapidly cooled and kept in cold storage if required. Pasteurization of milk, milk products and egg products is also very important. Food should be thoroughly cooked because most organisms are killed at 60 degrees centigrade. Another important component of food sanitation is sanitary improvement. For example, sanitization of all work surfaces and utensils and other equipments. Food premises should be kept free from rats, mice, flies and dust. And most important is the health education. The food handlers should adopt clean habits and personal hygiene, for example, hand washing practices. The second important component of prevention of food poisoning is refrigeration. Food that is not eaten immediately should be kept in cold storage. Cold is bacteriostatic, especially if the temperature is below 4 degrees centigrade. Refrigeration temperature should not exceed this level. There are 10 points which are recommended by World Health Organization. The first point is to choose food processed for safety. The second is the food should be cooked thoroughly. The third is eat cooked food immediately. The fourth, if food is not eaten immediately, then the food should be stored carefully. And when it is required to reheat the cooked food should be reheated thoroughly. Avoid contact between raw food and cooked food. These two types of food should be stored separately. Wash hand repeatedly, especially food handlers should wash hands frequently. Keep all kitchen surfaces clean. Protect food from insects, rodents, and other animals, and use safe water. My lecture ends here. Thank you very much.